Hello everyone, this is Amy, the Mystic Rose Tarot. It's been a while since I've done a video review for a tarot deck, and I felt that a deck that I just recently got was the perfect opportunity to review this particular deck. There's two versions of it. The most recent one, which I have, was released last year, late 2019. It's the pocket edition, and this is for The Dreams of Gaia by Ravynne Phelan, who is an Australian artist and healer. And I came across this deck just, going online looking at various tarot reviews and decks on YouTube. And I saw that Ravynne produced a deck quite a while ago that I actually came across, and I was close to getting it, but it didn't ring with me all the way. At the time, I was looking for a deck that connected with animal energy, and she created a deck called the Messenger's Oracle. And I looked at it, and I don't know, I think it was just so oracle-ish that basically, is the image of the animal with the meaning underneath it, and that's it. And that's pretty standard with a lot of oracle decks, but for some reason it didn't move me. So I ended up getting a different deck to focus on animal energy. But little would I don't know, half a decade later, that I would actually be coming across Dreams of Gaia and looking at her biography and realizing this is the same artist. But the timing of this deck to come to me and to guide me was pretty perfect. So what I'm going to do is I've decided, I got this deck a few weeks ago. I've done a few posts on Instagram, not too many, with my insights about this deck. And this is not a traditional tarot deck. It doesn't follow the systems that a lot of us are familiar with when it comes to reading the tarot. The major arcana doesn't have similar archetypes that we're used to and seeing in traditional tarot decks. And also modern decks, they've changed up the archetypes, but they're still pretty much the same. The emperor, and it's usually replaced by someone who represents more modern times. Emperor could be the boss or something like that. But with this deck, the major arcana is broken up into the journey, three phases of an individual's journey that they go through in their life. And the minor arcana does not use the symbology that we're used to, like coins, pentacles, swords, wands, cups. The minor arcana is specifically set up with just the elements. So this is going to be a flip through, if you will, for these decks. And what I've decided to do is I am going to do separate videos to spend more time addressing the specifics of certain cards in the major arcana, and the same with the minor arcana. Because it's a deck that you will have to spend time with. It's a hybrid deck. It's probably the best way I could describe it. It's a blend of oracle and also tarot, because it makes references to the arcana, but the imagery is a little different, and some of the meanings are not known as traditional. So this is a deck you're going to have to spend time with, but the energy that I've picked up from it is it's wonderful. So I'm slowly exploring through the major arcana, and I pulled out a few cards from the major arcana just randomly that I really enjoyed. or it connected with me in some way. So I put those cards, and then the other cards that didn't click with me is something that I will address at another time. Because obviously when you connect with some cards and you don't, there's a reason behind it. So there's something conscious and subconscious that goes on when we choose cards, when we do our own readings. If we're doing like an exercise or practice to get familiar with a new deck. So there's reasoning behind it. So I want to explore it. I don't want to go right off the cuff and say, well, this is the reason why I didn't like these cards. It goes much deeper. That's a conscious explanation, but subconsciously there's more to it. So I want to spend time with that and discuss that in a separate video. But going back quickly to the Minor Arcana. The Minor Arcana, there are 56 cards. The Major Arcana has 25, giving you around total of 80 cards. Is that right? 80, 81? Did I do my math right? 10, 81. And again, the Minor Arcana, they're broken up into elements only. So for our cups, there's no aces. So it'll be 1 of water, 2 of water. For earth, 1 of earth, 2 of earth. They have court cards, but again, they're not set up like the page knight. There is a king, there is a queen and king, but there's a card that comes before it, which we would normally state that it could be the knight card. But this is a card that is almost like a guide for the king and queen aspects of these cards and the elements. So each element has its personal guide, I guess that's the best way to put it, for the king and queen. And again, I will show you these cards quickly, but again, I will do a separate video to break this down. As I said, this deck there's a little bit more meat to it. And I'm realizing the deck, the pocket edition deck, which is what I have here, and its guidebook is very basic. It just gives you key words, key phrases to orient yourself with this deck. But the standard edition, which is actually a little bit bigger than regular tarot size, I'm not sure of the sizes, but from what I've seen, it's a little bit bigger. The guidebook, I think it's like over 200 pages, and it's full of information. I saw a video from Truth and Story by Kelly, and she had her book all marked out in tabs. She wrote notes and stuff. That's how complex this deck is. Again, it's just retraining. It's just thinking differently with it, and I feel that guidebook is something that I will have to get to further explore this, the meanings and the visual interpretation of the deck, the way that Ravynne created the deck. So I'll probably maybe at some point have to get that deck. I wish I can get the book separately, but I can't find it to purchase separately here in the US. You could get it in Australia, but right now, as many of you know, shipping's kind of difficult right now. So I'll hold off and work with what I have. So let me just show you. I'm going to break it down. This is not going to be an unboxing because it's already been unboxed. There's already quite a few videos of this deck. So there is a difference though with the pocket edition versus the standard edition. The standard edition deck actually has the word to describe each card printed on the card. And I believe the Minor Arcana, from what I remember, I think the Minor Arcana has a symbol. And it doesn't say like 1 of water. It's not printed on there. It's just a symbol representing earth, water, fire on it, and the number. So there's no words on the Minor Arcana cards. Imagery, exactly the same. The design of the back of the standard edition cards is different. I think there's 2 versions. One I've seen was black, and I believe it had some celestial stars on it. I think there's a border around it. And then I saw one version that looked very nice. It had, I think it had like a starry background to it. It could have been like a light blue, but I'm not certain of it. But anyhow, this one, you'll see the backing of it. It's just stunning. The packaging for the pocket edition, when I was deciding which one to get, I decided to go to the pocket edition. The way that it was being reviewed through Kelly from Truth and Story, it's a matte deck. It has, the box is matte, the guidebook is matte. There is no fingerprints whatsoever. I've had a few matte decks in my collection, and for some reason, I guess it's the way it's coated, it can leave some fingerprints. And I tend to put lotion on my hands. I don't hold my cards when my hands are greasy, but when there's a little bit of oil, like from our fingers or anything that we touch, for some reason, this pocket edition, the coating that they use, doesn't retain fingerprints. It's quite nice. So that's a plus. It's great to shuffle. I don't riffle shuffle. I do hand over hand. Riffle shuffling, I'm just concerned of overbending cards. I know there's stock out there nowadays that you can riffle a deck to pieces and it'll still hold up. But I hold great regard to my cards, so I want to treat them, kindly. Not that riffle shuffling is an unkind way of shuffling, but I want to make the durability of my cards to last. So I tend to be more ginger and gentle with my cards. Alrighty, so with that being said, let's just go down to the basics of the Dreams of Gaia. I may make reference to the guidebook for some of the interpretations, but this is going to be just a quick walkthrough, flip through, so you can get a sense of what this deck looks like. I'm still trying to get set up. I don't know when it's going to happen, so that when I do a review of a deck, I'm not, flinging the card right in front of the camera here. I like to do it where the camera's still and I can pull the cards one by one. Somewhere down the line, that'll happen. But for now, I'm keeping the setup very simple. The coloring's going to look a little different, but at least you can see imagery, what it looks like. If you have any questions about the stock, the coloring of the cards, the quality of it, of course, you can email me, leave comments below, and I'm more than happy to answer them. So, with no further ado, again, the size of this pocket edition is 2 3/4 by 3.5. So it's a pint-sized deck. It's not too big, not too small. I like the deck because it's a little wider, so we could get more information on each of the cards. It's not tall. It's almost a little squarish, but a little bit longish. And as I mentioned, it's all matte. This is the box here, Dreams of Gaia. And here we are here on the side, pocket edition. It's published by Blue Angel, which is an Australian-based company, but this is actually distributed through Llewelyn. So you can get this deck through Llewelyn, Amazon as well. The only thing that's not matte, as you probably saw as I was turning this, is there's a bit of a glossy coat for some of the images that are being shown. So 81 cards. I thought it was 80, but 81 cards. The coloring of the box is very much to my liking because it's like a deep burgundy, earthy brown, reddish color. And I have a reading cloth here on my table that is like a deep wine, a little bit warm color. So this deck works very nicely. The backing of the cards too works very nicely with this tablecloth. So it's going to look really good, and it's going to fit very nicely for for my reading table. Anyhow, so there's the side, there's the bottom. Tarot for a New Era. Okay. It's a sliding box. It has the cutouts here. So easy to grab with your forefingers, middle fingers. Here's the inside. No, 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 no. I just adopted a stray a few weeks ago, and he's trying to get right into camera. That's the inside. So it's like a pinky color. And then it's lined on the inside burgundy-wise to fit the color scheme. Oh, no. And here's the inside. There we go. Sweetheart, don't do it. That's the bottom of the box. That's the back side of it. The quality of this deck is, or of this box is nice. It's sturdy. I like a nice sturdy box, nothing flimsy. I'm not a fan of flip top boxes for the tarot deck, but it's not going to be a deal breaker for me. I'm there for the tarot, not so much for the box, but this is an added perk. So nice sturdy box, and the image here in front represents the Destiny card, which I will show you. Okay, so that's the box of it. And I'll put this here so it doesn't get lost. And to have a pint-sized deck, you're going to get a pint-sized guidebook. It goes here. And this is the back. So this is the backing of the cards. Just beautiful. This is actually moving up. This is going to be probably one of my top 5 decks to work with. There's no gold trim though that you see here. It's like a little bit of a very thin border, and that's not on the cards themselves, which I will show you. And excuse me. Ravynne just has one spread to show, for example, for using this deck. It's a pretty straightforward spread. It's called the Dreamer spread. Let me just show here. And there you go. Like a mini Celtic cross, or more like a circle. I haven't tried the spread yet. It's kind of look through it. I want to do a different layout. I normally don't do layouts. I'm such an intuitive reader. I feel spreads, as great as they can be and help guide with information, I'm always changing how I do my readings. So to have a layout and just kind of feel, restricted to, this is the present, this is the future, this is near future, this is, how people see you, so on and so forth. I kind of stay clear from it. I do offer layouts though on my website, but I don't have that many. And usually the layouts I improvise on. So that's my little spiel on layouts. So let's just get started with the Major Arcana. Again, I'm going to go through this quickly, and I'm hoping my stray doesn't hit the wrong button here on the computer. He is literally just a few inches away. So the Major Arcana, I'm not going to go into great detail. I'm trying to keep my time very specific. The Major Arcana, again, goes through 3 areas that an individual goes through their life. So all this information that I'm sharing with you is Ravynne Phelan's description of the major arcana. There are 4 words that she uses to describe the overall use of the dreams of Gaia. And that is to seek, feel, grow, and heal. And those 4 aspects, experiences, you definitely feel and you can see and connect with in this deck. And when reading this, and looking through the deck, I started seeing to myself, this is a deck that I'm going to use definitely for healing and probably chakra work. Again, because this deck isn't a traditional deck, it's going to be read and used differently. So that's how I'm going to be working with this deck. I'll try and do some readings when it comes to any business issues, but this deck has so much emotions and subconscious energy in it. I feel like I can't do anything that's related to job or business or success along those ways. I'll try it. Like I said, I just got this deck and I haven't explored different aspects of it. So I will have to see how that works out. But again, strongly, this is a deck that's healing. It has that kind of aspect to it. So the stages that an individual goes through in their life, according to Ravynne Phelan, and the way the major arcana is broken down to is she has the first card, which is set up almost representative of the Fool. But for me, I see this card more like a chakra card, almost like the Wheel of Fortune. The first card in the deck, it's marked 0, is choice. Okay, and so with choice, she relates this card as the choices that you make now obviously will affect your near future, down the road, the final outcome, and all the experiences that come from those choices and the results from those experiences goes full circle. So for me, this is almost like a karma card for me. It's like you have to be well aware of choices that you are going to make. You're looking out for your future, your well-being, and those that are going to be part of your life. And this is a choice card. And the detail, try and go a little closer. Okay, it's not blue. This is just the lighting that, unfortunately, in my house, it's very yellow. So it's going to throw the color spectrum off in this deck. But just so you can see the imagery. We have the Celtic knots. We have the snake there holding the torch. We have the apple there. We have, looks like 3 portals. Right there. Going to the other realms. This is like a conscious and unconscious card. Here we are on the outside, and then we're delving into our inner conscious once we go through those portals. This is a good visualization card. You start from the outside and you go through those portals, and then when you go through those portals, it leads you into these different aspects of an individual's life, their journey. So this is the choice card. Okay, the choice card is, if you were to place it somehow with this deck, the choice card would be the card that I would place in the center and then put the major arcana all the way around it. You could say that as the present. It could be like the present card. Okay, so next we have the beginnings of the stages of life. And these represent individuals, ourselves, as we start from infancy to our elder years. The first card represents the child. It's beautiful. Angelic. The roses are actually blue. We have the hummingbird. She has like a little daisy there. So this is our early stages, the early part of our years. The roses are actually pink. I thought they were blue. Okay, second phase. We've all gone through this, or we are going through this. This is the maiden. So from the child, this is probably like our teen years, you know, exploring, curiosity, innocence. Typical description of the maiden, you know, open-minded. Our third card. Again, this is the stages of life. This is youth. This is the youth card. The youth is now from our teen years. We're now like in our 20s, 30s. We're starting to get a sense of ourself, feeling confident with things. Hopefully connected to ourselves and everything above us and at us and below us and around us. This is the youth card. The mother card, very empress looking. We have the tortoise there. Woman sitting on a rock. Looks like a rocking tree, actually. And if you look closely, she is wearing horns, so she could be, I think she could be like the doe. And I state that because the next card you'll see why. So she has antlers, flowers. As we know, mother represents creativity, utility. Very important time in a woman's life. You have your confidence as well. And feeling grounded. This is a very wonderful card. So 4 is mother. Here we go. So this would be our male. This would be our stag. We have the 5 is the father, and there we have the lion. Strong, powerful leader. And let me show you this side by side. There you go. So you can see the energy and the relationship between these two. Again, the colors shifting. Apologies for that. Just beautiful cards. The influence, I would say, art-wise, is Celtic. Not heavily, but there is reference to Celtic as we see the spirals and the symbology built in. There's also pentacles in there. It's pagan-oriented too. It sticks very close to nature. And after father, or after mother, we go into the crone, as we move towards our older last few years, last few decades, I should say. The crone is the most powerful. I feel it, the female energy. She has gone through all of life's journeys. She is knowledgeable spiritually. This card is a strong spiritual woman. She's holding her staff, and I think there's a glowing mushroom there. And also, like I said, look carefully. This card has so much hidden information. We have moon phase there, crescent moon. And that is a mushroom. I just want to make sure it's not like a tiny person that's there. It's the crone, and then we have the raven there. Powerful symbology in this card. And then we have the sage. So these are the 8 stages of life: child, maiden, youth, mother, father, crone, and the sage here. We have the owl, as we know represents wisdom. And also seeing things, perceiving things at a deeper level. And then we have the wolf there, wolf with strength, intuitive nature. And then we have the crone holding, or not the crone, we have the sage holding the staff with guiding light. And then the last card for the stages of life is death and rebirth. And it's so beautiful. And you can't see it. Oh, let me see if I could tilt this. There we go. We have a baby that's wrapped up in this nice egg, Orphic egg. The cycle starts again. You can see the light emanating. And baby's almost ready to be reborn. It's just beautiful. So that's the first part, 8 stages of life. The last one is death and rebirth, representing the cycle starting again, and well, the cycle ending and then starting again. So after that experience, I'm actually writing notes here, we go to the reasons of being. And I'm going to have to read from the book because the reasons of being is a little different. We have the stages of life as we physically, spiritually, emotionally grow, like through those phases. And then as we go through all of those phases, we have, as Ravynne states, reasons of being, reasons of who we are, what makes us who we are. And let me go through this very quickly here. Reasons of being here. Our primary reason for being is to experience life, both the good and the bad, but we are also here to learn and gain knowledge, to grow wise, to experience love in all its forms, and to find healing and unity. We are here to find our true self, to create abundance, and to fulfill our personal and chosen destiny. And that's Ravynne's description for the reasons of being. These three aspects of the individual's life's journey is broken up into 3 8s. So we have 8 stages of life, we have 8 reasons of being, and then we're going to have 8 influences, which is going to wrap up the major arcana. Okay, first reason of being, knowledge. taking the information, reading it, acknowledging it. Number 9 is wisdom. Is knowledge, sorry. Number 10 is wisdom. And there is a difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is what you gain, wisdom is what you share. And there we go with wisdom. Very hermit-like. He's wearing a bear skin, it looks like. We have the light shining him on his path. The healer. This is one of my favorites. Without knowledge and wisdom, you can't heal. You have to know. You have to understand to begin self-healing and also to heal others. Number 12 is love. Beautiful card. Heart chakra there. Butterflies, lotus, rose. Beautiful energy. It's a card filled with love. 13. Once you have love, you have self-union. This card is the card of union. All-encompassing everything that you've learned in life and discovering who you are. This is union. And as I had mentioned earlier, I talked about using this deck for chakra work. And there are a few cards, they show up in the minor arcana as well, that use the 7 chakras. So we have root, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, the third eye, and then number 7, enlightenment. You have the eye right up above. Then union. Let's see if I can get up closer. There are actually 2 beings there. As you can see right here, my finger here. 2 faces there. And how they just sort of intertwine. They're meeting of the minds and connecting. Union. And we have the eagle and the dog. Conscious and subconscious. This is number 13, card of union. (14), this is self. So once you've built all that connection to yourself, union, yoga, yoke, is to bring together and to hold together. That word just came into my head to describe union. And here with union, you have complete self, enlightenment, peace within and without. Very peaceful card, very centered, grounding card. It's number 14, the self. Number 15, we have as abundance. This abundance, the only thing that I see visually of abundance is basically her. She has a basket of fruit. We have the rabbit. We have a rainbow. And going closer. Let's see how close I can get. there's a bird, and she's holding its nest, and there's like 2 little baby birds right there. And I guess the mother bird is right there to make sure they're okay. Now the dragon, I'm not sure how it represents for abundance. It's a card of, I know if it's an animal of power and strength, which can come with abundance. But this creature behind her, I'm not too clear about. That's what I was saying earlier, that I think by getting the other deck that has the comprehensive interpretation of these cards, it can explain more of the symbology of the dragon, the creature that's standing behind her. But you can leave this also open for interpretation. This allows you to explore different aspects of this card. So again, this is number 15, abundance. And then 16, we have destiny. Once you have completion of yourself, you have abundance. It could be physical, spiritual, and then you've reached destiny. And again, these are the reasons of being. Probably another way to explain this is reasons of being as reasons for our existence. And that reasons of existence: knowledge, wisdom, love, healing, union, self, abundance, and destiny. I'm learning more as I go through this deck, so if you see me stop, I'm writing notes because I'm acknowledging something that I didn't realize before. Okay, our major arcana. We're winding it down. Next is our influences. And I will read from here to better encapsulate this deck. Our influences. Here we go. While it is true that the events we are experiencing now and our reasons for being can and do influence our ability to see opportunities and make choices, there are another 8 key elements that play a defining role in influencing us for better or worse. And these are the last for the major arcana influences. So we went through the stages of life, reasons of being, and now the influences. What these influences are and how they affect us in our lives. This is the journey. Number 17, the journey, represents experiences that we have in our life. '18, these are our thoughts. Our thoughts guide us. They guide us either in a good way, bad way, or not at all. We could stay stagnant if we don't put any effort or thoughts into making changes. Thoughts are needed to grow and to learn from. Number 18 is thoughts. 19, this is emotions. You don't really see it. I'll go closer here. There we go. We have over, this side here, got heart, pentacle, seems to be hanging, dangling from a sword, meeting of the mind and the heart. But down below we see someone. This is almost like the lighter side and dark side of emotions. The lighter side is just understanding and being content with our emotions, while down below you see someone who's struggling, having a hard time with emotions, not being grounded, can't get a grip on what's going on. Literally, it almost looks like she's holding her hands against her head, but it almost looks like they're gripped in a fist-like manner. It's just a struggle. And that's like our shadow side, the shadow side of our emotions. And then above is the lighter side of our emotions, when things feel good and balanced. Number 19, emotions. 20. Anyone guess what 20 is? This is desire. It's like following our animal instincts. What do we really desire? And be careful what we desire for. If we desire something that on the surface looks good and then we realize it's not all that great, we have to deal with the consequences, the outcome from it. So this card is a reminder of it's okay to have desires, but make sure they are going to benefit you and those around you. It's number 20, desire. Number 21 is perception. It's beautiful. I almost want to relate this to the crone. The crone was holding a wand, but here we have this individual holding a sword. Of course, the sword represents thought and how we use our thoughts and how we perceive things. So this person here is firmly grounded, sword is centered, is very careful and aware of what's around them, what's perceived in their current environment, and things that come to them. Perception, number 21. Intuition. And there we have the typical animal symbology, the owl. We have the black cat there. And then we have the spider for work. We have candlelight. There we go. We have a little candlelight there for guidance. Spider for work. Cat for spirituality. Owl for knowledge and instinct. It also looks like she's holding a stone that has a crescent moon in it. Of course, you know the moon is used for deep spiritual energy work. So number 22 is intuition. This next card is a card that it's going to be a difficult one to read. One of the reviews with this deck, the person was making reference to the similar feel. Number 23 is integrity. Okay, and I'll let you be the judge of this. I feel this is more almost like animal instincts and building integrity around your primal energy, what you really feel. Primal energy, animal energy, with that's a leopard. Then we have the owl, we have the snake. Oh, that is not a snake actually. That's the tail of the tiger. This is a very seductive card. So for me, this is how I'm seeing it. And we have the pool there, a reflective pool, which is a reflection of oneself as a reminder. But this card doesn't ring very strong for me for integrity. If that's the, as how the card is named. I don't even know what other name I would give it. But I wouldn't name it integrity. But anyhow, this is the card of integrity, number 23. Yeah, I think this is the tail of the tiger. Can't tell. Then lastly, number 24. This is faith. Very angelic. He's holding a lotus flower. And there's the turtle, but in the celestial realm. Turtles or tortoises are known to be of wisdom as well. Stork, messenger, and of course we have, looks like an older wolf there, but they're all riding on this tortoise. And then we have this mystical eye, if you will. Having faith in yourself and in things around you. Have self-belief, which this card this card is very much a poster child, if you will, for what's going on right now. People, we need to have faith. Keep up this inner strength. Number 24 is card of faith. So that's the major arcana. And just to go back to the card that encompasses the major arcana, choice. I call this the karmic card. What goes around comes around. So with faith, we end the major arcana and we go back to the beginning of our choices and getting ready for the next experience in our life, if it comes up like that in a reading. All right, minor arcana. I'm an hour in. So I have the water, earth, fire, and air. And again with the minor arcana, there are only 56 cards with the minor arcana. And again, they don't make reference to cups, swords, pentacles, or wands. These are completely elements, so water, earth, fire, and air. Okay. So what I am going to do is, I can do this quick. I was going to go backwards with these, but when introducing a new deck, you need to see the proper order, not my order, of how I put these. Okay. So this is water, and there's the symbology, or the icon for water, the reverse triangle. We have a dragon. All the four elements here are represented by a dragon creature to represent energy, to represent the beginnings, to represent movement in each of these elements. Okay, this card is probably the only card in this element that relates pretty much to the Two of Cups in any cards, but it's just interpreted differently. This is Two of Water. So if you've seen Two of Cups, we see variations of intertwining souls, animals, things that have life force to them, and they're connecting. And this card speaks for itself. It's about connection, harmony, happiness. Three of Water. Got the tropical fish there. Freedom, self-expression. And the colors of these cards are wonderful. And apologies that my lighting just is not doing justice, but I want people just to see. This card is more about feeling the imagery. The colors are important as well, but I just want you to get a sense of the imagery. So we have Four of Water. How we see ourselves. Self-reflection. A mirror has two different faces, or two similar faces, but they're facing opposite of each other. With fives, we know it's conflict, despair, emotionally struggling. Beautiful card, though. Six of Water. Letting go, forgiveness. She has a headdress that looks like it's made out of coral. And there she's offering her heart. A charm necklace. It's sort of hard to see, but all these cards for the water element, they're all underwater. So we're dealing about the subconscious nature of ourselves. We have seven of water. Eight, there are those chakras again. This is free-spirited, free giving. We have the dolphins in the background. Dolphins represent intellect. It's the underlying meaning of things. And since the dolphins are related to water, it's our deep subconscious self. Chakras, then we have the full moon behind. I'm going to go closer. Looks like we have another eye right there. It's not a UFO, but it looks like right up top here. There we go. Nine of Water. Emotionally connected. Spiritually. And as you can see, she has a third eye right there. So this is more of deep psychic energy. It's Nine of Water. This one is actually my favorite of the water elements. It's the Ten of Water. Why it's my favorite? Just the imagery. We see a woman who's just connected, immersed with herself, emotionally in control. She's holding the triple moon right there. We'll go a little closer. 10 of water. So now we're moving towards, sort of say, the court cards. Again, remember, this deck is not traditional in its system, but it has aspects of it. And I will, oops. No. I'm trying to get out. Hold on one sec. There we go. This is 11 of water. And there we have our dragon. The bottom. The court cards, if you want to call them court cards, the last 4 cards in the water element. I love that they have, I'll go in here closer, they have fins coming right off of the side of their faces. It's just wonderful. And let me read here the 11. Say 11 of water. See, it's not an easy deck, but the more you spend time with it, you'll connect with it. So it's basically emotion and intellect. It's a meeting of the minds, the head and the heart, love and fear. It's a balance of these two. This is 11 of water. And I have mentioned at the beginning that this deck, before it gets to the king and queen, it actually has a guide. This is a guide to represent and help the king and queen aspects of each of the elements. So for number 12, let's see here, for water, there's the cat. This is the counselor of water. There you go. Someone who's empathetic, objective, emotionally understanding, has clarity. Someone who can be like your spiritual guide to help you, emotionally guide you. It's 12 of water. And then here, 13 of water. This is the queen. We have the crab there on the bottom. And this is obviously a woman who just emotionally is all encompassed. Knows how to make decisions, knows how to balance the heart with the mind. She is someone who is compassionate, someone that you could come to. We have the triple moon there as well. Connected to the moon energy and the deep psyche that represents the queen of water, which is 13 of water. And then the masculine counterpart is the king of water, 14 of water. Now when I say king of water, it's just me getting used to stating it. In the book it says queen of air, or I'm sorry, queen of water, king of water. And again, we have here the triple moon. Just beautiful. It's healing. It's comfortable. Number 14, King of Water. So again, I will go more into specifics with this deck in separate videos, just to spend more time with the major arcana and the 3 different levels of journey that the individual goes to. We'll explore that a little bit more. Okay, next we're going to go into the earth element. And I did these backwards too. Put these back in order. This element's good because we're getting ready to move into Taurus, which is an earth sign, next week. Okay, and again, all these elements, they have the representation of the dragon creature. The greens in this is just beautiful. There's greens, different shades of green. It looks like there's blue in this card, but there is no blue. And there's our symbol for earth. Reverse triangle with the strike line through it. And here we have 2 of earth. Balancing everything. Now you can see the coloring a little bit. Isn't that just wonderful? 3 of earth. And as I said, we're getting ready to go into Taurus, and here we have the bull. Very strong. 4 of earth. So look, his left bicep is cut. There's blood a little bit on the window frame. There we go. You can see it. And it looks like there's a scarab right above. Hard work, sacrificing, but still maintaining physical strength. I have 5 of earth. Look at that. I have to tilt it at an angle so you could get a better sense of the coloring. Holding the club, cards. Devilish horns. 6 of earth. There we go. Chakras, here they are again. I would say for this card, the root chakra is of great importance because the root is grounding. You could see as this being is just sitting on the earth and just bringing up the energy, harnessing it, manifesting it, all the way through the different chakra aspects until it just blossoms. I'm going to go a little closer. Where they're just becoming one with nature, a snake wrapped around them. flames on the shoulders. This is a very exciting card. There's a lot of movement going on, even for an earth card. There's stillness but movement. Now we have our 8 card. Very Gaia, very Mother Earth. A little closer. Her staff, look at that. That's an amazing amount of detail. What's interesting is as I go through these elements, I shouldn't say I see, this deck is more of a feel deck for me. There is such a steadfastness and stability when going through the earth element. It's very sincere. There's no ego in these cards. It's just like, here we are. This is it. And again, Earth card, very influenced with nature. Look at this one. This is beautiful. 10 of Earth. So again, we're going into the last 4 cards, this element, and I need to see, is it essential? Okay. Number 11. Turn it this way. We see all the influences, animal influences. We have the bear, we have the owl, we have the wolf. I believe I have to pull this away for a minute. I can't tell what this black, is it a ram? I don't think it's a ram, but this is, I can't tell. These are all the attributes of Earth that influence this card. And there's the green dragon. I'll just call it the green dragon. This is the balance of heaven and earth. As above, so below. The material, the immaterial, the mundane, magic, nature, humanity. Spiritual being in a physical body. It's 11 of Earth. And this is, as I mentioned before, the King and Queen cards. There is a guide card. This is essential of Earth. The servant, the administrator. Someone who's trustworthy, loyal, the mediator. Question everything. Loyalty to authority. I'll go in so you can see more detail. We have the keys there dangling from her headdress. We have the dog right in the center of her neck for loyalty. 13 of Earth. This is the Queen of Earth. We have the bull there, Taurus, natural beauty, all-encompassing, material, success, contentment. There we go. Wish the lighting would just stay like this so you could see more of the detail. So that's 13 of Earth. And then I have King of Earth. And I want to do this side by side so you can see the two, how they relate. It's the Queen of Earth for 13. And the King of Earth. I hope people who are watching this or they're skimming through it, they're picking up some interesting energy from viewing these cards, because they are, I think if you're a healer or you work specifically like an energy worker, you will be more attuned to a deck like this if you do work with tarot and oracle decks. Okay, next we're going to move into the realm of fire. And I'm going to be talking less for the minor arcana because there's quite a few cards here. There's the one of fire again. Dragon, maybe lion influence mixed between the two. And we have the egg, the spider there. Again, I'm not going to go into the detail like I did earlier with the major arcana. I just want you to get a sense and feel this deck. Two of Wands. Oh, Two of Wands. Two of Fire. Partnership. Companionship. Like-minded. Creative energies. Three of Fire. Getting ready to go to the next phase of creativity and exploration. Three of Fire. Four of Fire. Focused, centered. Nothing's going to be holding you back. You're driven. Flames just right up here. The arrow. Beautiful. Four of Fire. Closer so you can see. Competition. Five of Fire. Aggression. Fair use of this fiery energy. Being competitive, but not being destructive at the same time. It looks like this person's about to throw a blow, but it's holding back. And the other person is just sort of like, okay, we're here, let's make this work somehow. Five of Fire. 7 of fire. I don't know, I kind of feel like this is, I know there's no direct influence, but this card's reminding me of a Doth card in the deck. It looks very similar to this, or it has that kind of energy where you do have the priest and he's consecrating the two beings. Trying to think if I'm reading that correctly. Okay, let me show it again. This is the six of fire again. Seven of fire. Detail. Eight. Eight of fire. Creative energy is surging, it's growing. Nine of fire. Solar plexus. Building up that energy and moving it up. It's the nine. Nine of wands. Oh, nine of fire. Oy. 10 of fire. Chakras. As I mentioned earlier, I don't see how I can read anything for finance or business or success or career with this deck. It is just geared to something much deeper. It's definitely healing. We got the chakras again. The wheel above. That energy is just, it's moving, it's going to completion, and it continues again. It's 10 of fire. Then got the 11. I have to look for 11. Ooh. 11 of fire is the balance of masculine and feminine energy. And the face is very subtly, as you can tell by the change of the color of the lips in the center. You can't tell which side's masculine or which side's feminine, but it's creation, destruction, passive, aggressive, masculine, feminine. Some of the key phrases Ravynne discusses: put aside gender stereotypes. We are both masculine and feminine. This is the balance card. Too much of one, not enough of the other. It's an imbalance if this card comes up in a reading where something is questioned about the energy of masculine and feminine. Let the energy move naturally. It's 11 of fire. And then the guide for fire is the hero, the bear there. Guardian, protector, selfless, activist, honest. 12. This is the hero of fire. Person who is noble. Put another's well-being before your own. Hero of fire. And then here we have the Queen. Wide-eyed cat on bottom. Number 13, Queen of Fire. Woman who is in control of energy, knows how to use it, balance it to her advantage. 13. 13 of fire. Queen of fire. And then we have the King of Fire. There's the lion. And then just for comparison, we have the feline, feminine-ish fire here. And then we have the lion, masculine. Number 14. All that radiant energy. 14, King of Fire. This deck is just unbelievable. Ooh. Can you imagine living in a world like that after seeing all those images? Wow. Okay, so we're finishing up. We are going to air. One of air, beginning of ideas. 2, balancing of ideas, opposite ideas. White and black, light and dark. And we see the scales right here. And then the energy movement between light and the dark. This is 2 of air. 3 of air. Obtaining, getting the knowledge. Learning, understanding. 3 of air. 4 of air. A lot of thought, a lot of, say creative thinking, but more like in the intellect realm. Harnessing the energy from the center. I don't know, to me, I feel this card has a scientific feel to it. Excuse me. There's something science, mathematical, intellectual with this card. Then we have the mandala down the bottom for movement. Movement of the intellect. 4 of air. 5 of air. Being blind. Not really seeing things how we really should. Not thinking things all the way through. Consequences. Being lost. Dragonflies also represent intellect. inspiring the energy in this card to really think and focus. We have the feathers there for crow, who knows, bird. 5 of air. Six of air. Symbology is not explained. What's in this circle here? I do not know what this is. Looks like it could be sigils or hieroglyphs. It has its own meaning. Do not know what this is. Rainbow above her head. Go into more detail. Go closer. I want to read here. 6 of Wands. Or 6 of air. Let's see here. Solutions, comparisons, compromise, epiphany, mindfulness, open-minded, weighing the pros and cons, making balanced choices. Seven of air. Eight of air. Wow. You see what's going on here in this card. Let me hold this differently. One of the swords going right through his left hand, other hand, right hand, he's balancing the sword. The consequences of making unbalanced choices. If you make the wrong one, obviously there's going to be some damage. He has a chain. It's attached on the left hand where the knife is going through his hand. That's 8 of air. Nine of air. See the lotus there. I'm umming because of the movement that I feel on this card and how everything is just, it's pure heart. You have the lotus, the hands, everything's lit. It's slowly moving up to the conscious or subconscious. Intellectually using your psychic energy. I feel with this card. It's 9 of air. We have 10 of air. Let's try this again here. This is abstract. There's not a human form in this. You see butterflies in the background. Ten of air. Yeah, it looks like it could be the back. Here, I'll show this again. It could be the back of a person's head. There we go. You can see the colors. I think my computer's going through, with the colors shifting, it's going through a chakra shift right now. It's trying to balance out. I don't know what the 10 of air is. Let's just look this up here. Liberation, self-actualization, individuation, perception, potential, new paradigms. Walk your own path, see and know your potential, the self as a whole. Very different interpretation for the 10 of air, or 10 of swords. In this case, there are no swords here. We're just representing the aspect, element of air in relation to the self. Okay, our last 4. Number 11, body and mind. Completion. Open mind, reality, opinion, imagination. Be discerning. Facts are certainties, opinions are not facts. We can only change ourselves. There we go. This is body and mind, number 11. And we can also see in the artwork, it's like we're going through the different levels of realizing the self. We start with the whole self and bring it down to the true self. Everything is stripped. As you can see, the person, there we go. Very simple. Up here, everything is stripped down. All this energy has been acquired to reach the true self. And again, the guide for the air card is the scribe. This is the person who has information. It reminds me actually of a friend of mine. Has knowledge. Tends to be more traditional. Personal histories connected with their own history. Knowledge. They tend to be the person that you could go to and they could give you an answer. This is someone who enjoys reading, obtaining knowledge, scholarly. Be objective and seek multiple perspectives intellectually. And this is 12, the scribe of air. And this is the guide for the air element. So I had mentioned earlier, there are 4 guides in each of the elements, and the guides come right before the king and the queen. Okay, our last 2 cards. This is the Queen of Air. The Weaver, wise, observant, can detach themselves. Air sign is very much wrapped up into the intellect. not too much emotionally oriented. They analyze. Air influence is very analytical, as I've already stated. And sometimes it is best to be emotionally detached to really take a different perspective, intellectual perspective, knowledgeable, using your mind to really see things. In this case, you're not following your heart, you're following your mind. This is the Queen of Air, number 13. 14. Look at that. King of Air. Have the eagle, 3 faces. Disciplined, forceful, precise, rule-oriented, respectful, commanding, powerful. Time to be ethical for the King of Air. Respect the rules, laws, follow guidelines. Seek the advice of an expert. This is number 14, King of Air. And that's it. That's the minor arcana. It's the air element. Going through these cards individually is very good. And to share some insight on the cards. This is wonderful in the sense that we have no objects in this deck, swords, cups, pentacles. We are just completely focused on the elements in the minor arcana. And it changes the game on how we read with this deck, the Dreams of Gaia. And also something that we can learn and apply when we work with traditional decks. Again, this is a non-traditional deck. It is very similar, or it's not similar, but it brings in elements of the tarot and oracle. You know, as I mentioned, with the pocket edition, the major arcanas do not have words. In the standard edition, from what I remember, they have the keywords on there. For some people, that works for them. For others, they don't like the keywords. They just like to focus on the imagery. And this is what this deck is great for, because there is nothing in the minor arcana. This is the faith card. There's no word there. You can focus on the card itself, read it as however you want. Even though the meaning of the card is with faith, you can bring in another interpretation if you like. And I'm beginning to appreciate tarot decks that have no words, no guides. Even that says 10 of Wands, even though you see 10 wands in that card. For some people, words can be distracting when it comes to the tarot. Depending on how attuned you are, if you are visually attuned, you're going to immediately focus on the imagery. And this deck is perfect for it. The only thing we have is just the numbers and the symbol of the element, which we see right there. So, this was a long one, an hour and 44 minutes, but I wanted to go through this so you can see the images. Don't worry so much about the coloring, because the coloring you could go on another website and see how the images look. I want people to kind of get a feel, literally a feel, and how you could attune to this deck. and learn differently from the way that we normally, some of us, practice traditional tarot. So this is a wonderful deck. A lot of the decks that I have, I like variety. I love a deck that has a different style, a different way of reading. And as I mentioned earlier, this deck is one of them, and I have 2 other decks that are like that. It helps condition the mind out of the realm of the standard way of reading the tarot with, the wands, cups, so on and so forth. Similar imagery. This is completely different. And I like to challenge people to look into decks that move away from the traditional way of doing the tarot and interpreting it. So this is Dreams of Gaia, the pocket edition. And there is a standard edition. And the guidebook that comes with the standard edition is more comprehensive. And that's a deck that I will probably get. I would love to have the guidebook only, but the guidebook cannot be purchased separately as of now. But for now, I'm very content with this deck. I'm very happy with it. I look forward to exploring it more. As I mentioned, I will be doing more specific videos to focus on the different aspects of this deck. Focus more on the minor arcana, its elements, the major arcana, because it is interpreted differently. As I mentioned, there's no traditional archetypes. So I'll probably do 2 videos, one for the major arcana and then one for the minor arcana. Focus on that. And that'll come down the line. But that's it. Wow. If you have any questions regarding this deck, it's a shame. This deck is just an excellent deck, and there's so many indie decks that are being produced out there, and it's wonderful to see those decks out there, but this deck doesn't seem to have gotten a lot of speed and a lot of excitement to it. And I think it's just because it is a different level of reading as opposed to, how people see tarot decks. And it's nice to have a deck like this and a few others that steps out of that realm. So I highly recommend Dreams of Gaia if you want to take your tarot in a different direction, if you're ready for it. It's a very spiritual deck, as I've already mentioned a few times. This isn't a deck that I read for finance, business, career situations. This is a deck about healing, spiritual work, maybe relationships within yourself, and relationships with others. This is a conscious, subconscious spectrum deck. That's the best way I can describe it. So with that being said, I'm ending it here. This is Amy of the Mystic Rose Tarot. My website is www.themysticrosetarot.com and Instagram, The Mystic Rose Tarot. Any questions, comments, you can reach me via my website. You can leave comments down below. Let me know how you feel about this deck, if you are working with it or if you like to work with it. Give me feedback. I'd like to know what you think about this deck. It's a very unique deck. It's not for everyone, which makes it even more special. Have a wonderful week, morning, night, and many blessings to everyone. And I look forward to connecting again soon. Signing off.